Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes
Why are we
will
doing this again?
determine the results. If you can figure out who, then I'll punish everyone. Let's talk.
First, we have to make clear what was used to deliver the fatal blow. It's the dumbbell.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
What? What? How dare you? Oh.
It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Oh my god. Ugh, shit. I begrudge. Oh, I'm already tilted that it didn't accept it on that.
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Alright. I'm prepared to wager that like 90% of people who do this get fucked by that one.
The object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell found at the scene of the crime. It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yes. Why wouldn't you?
Yay! That's so creepy!
Okay.
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Did he really kill Chihiro? A new element has been added to non-stop debates. For this debate, lines of white noise will appear to disrupt your reactions. Your truth bullets will disappear if they hit these lines, so think of them as obstacles in your debate. But there's a way to keep this white noise from getting in your way, pressing the right mouse button to attach the silencer, which you can use to shoot down the white noise. Okay. However, if you shoot an actual remark with your silencer instead of white noise, the time limit will decrease, so take careful aim. Oh, but if your action difficulty is set to gentle, white noise won't appear. In which case you can forget about the silencer. Good luck. Okay.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible.
Why?
Oh, shit.
What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on. There's just no proof for it.
Okay. I wasn't really sure how we were going to do anything about that one.
I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library.
I found this file.
I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
It does have top secret written on the front of it, so you know it must be important.
That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
Hifumi. Just for 5 seconds. Please be normal.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic. And it's something that has never
Remember
been
to
made
stay
public.
hydrated.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
I got it!
Positioned.
Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way.
No, she wasn't actually, but I'm prepared to give suspended a slide given the circumstances.
So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real genocide.
I don't think it is. Like, I'm pretty sure that Toko's genocide... I mean, I think it's almost guaranteed Toko's genocide Jack at this point. But I don't think that she did it. I think we're going to have to spend a fair chunk of this trial proving that it wasn't Genocide Jack that killed them.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of
Undoubtedly, but I don't think they're the murderer, funnily enough.
In fact, it's Toko.
Yes.
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
I agree. No, he's right. Unfortunately, he's right. As much as it pains me to agree with something that Byakuya said.
Hey, okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has like bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
I mean, to be honest, it's not that surprising. Like, not every serial killer murders somebody in a bloody way.
Is Toko Genocide Jack?
Though they
yes
usually do.
and no.
Another riddle? Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
It does seem like a riddle in a way, but I feel like I can just about see it. It's not that complicated, dog. Genocide Jack is Toko, but isn't Toko. What do you want? Is it? Oh, it is. I feel like this is a slightly insensitive way to phrase this.
Now I understand.
I don't really like that that's the word it chose.
Genocide Jack has a split personality?
That's not really the same thing. I'm not 100% on that. I feel like you could have put split or personality in there. But okay.
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
The one thing that shows Toko could have a split personality, her behavior change.
You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
I'm fine. Are you dead? Ha ha ha. Front, back, top, web of lies, blah blah blah.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
I mean, in a roundabout kind of way.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
So I do want to point out that that obviously wouldn't work because she would have the key on the inside of the dorm. So obviously Jack would just be able to open the door anyway, even if she locked it.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How?
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time.
That's a weird thing to just come out and say.
And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
Yeah.
You promised. I can't.
Whoa, Byakuya turned out to not be trustworthy. Whoa, that's crazy, dude. I can see why you'd be surprised given his flawless personality so far.
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to.
To be fair, I have no sympathy for her on that one.
This is the real world.
If you're gonna trust Byakuya with some kind of dirty secret like that, like, there's no way he's keeping it a secret.
Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone.
Genocide Jack hasn't killed anybody.
But in spite of that promise...
Toko, can we speak to Genocide Jack real quick? I'd like to cross-examine Genocide Jack, if you don't mind.
I promise you would go out with me.
Oh, you stupid bitch.
That's the only reason I promise.
Oh, you poor, poor, stupid bitch.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
No, too much of it, like, doesn't line up with Jack's killing methods.
I tried. I swear I tried to control it.
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
I'm glad you're catching up.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person you don't mean.
Toko's body lunged backwards. A huge thud echoed across the courtroom, but in the next second...
Oh, hello there. Is it me you were hoping to see?
Why is her tongue like that? What? Why is her tongue like that? Is that meant to be creepy? It's just like really fucking stupid. Why does a split personality suddenly increase the length of your tongue?
What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do?
She's also speaking really clearly for having her tongue hanging out of her mouth like that.
I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko, that's a loser name, and what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's faults.
Is this meant to be, like, creepy? Because I find it pretty ridiculous, actually. I'm kind of annoyed that this is the design they went with for the split personality.
She's so intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know.
No, really, why is her tongue like that, though? This is a bridge too far for me. Why is her fucking tongue like that, huh? I demand answers. Who at the design meeting was like, alright, how do we convey a murderous split personality shift? Well, you know what always reminds me of serial killers? Oh, what's that? Frogs. Interesting. Go on. Well, you know how the frog has a really long tongue? That's just not right, man. Like, what was the inspiration for this exactly? Where did this come from?
Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. This is the murderous fiend, Genocide Jack. Yeah, it's pretty stupid, right? This is beyond insane.
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
But, like, why, though?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you, I am the mastermind of all masterminds!
Not what we asked.
Just kidding!
Okay.
Then it's not true?
Of course it's not true. How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid?
Damn, Creepazoid? That's retro. I haven't thought about that cartoon in a while.
The police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless. I mean, they just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town.
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people.
Okay, dude.
It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone.
Okay, dude. Whatever you say.
Kidding again.
I'm gonna get real fucking tired of you real fucking fast.
This should be enough to convince you. This
No.
murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
Is there, I mean... I guess, but like... I still don't think she did it.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 20
Yeah, I
hours,
thought about this
an
as well, but I really
embarrassing
don't...
secret would be revealed.
Like, it seems like it was just a coincidence.
Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster.
Maybe. she's totally right about that, but something's still bothering me. I need more details about all this. Yeah, no, I don't think she did it either.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need?
Give it up. You killed her.
No, modus operandi does not match.
Perhaps if you had an...
Oh, an
When you compare your past murders to this, the modus operandi matches
Fuck.
completely. What more
I'm
proof?
so stupid.
Give it up. You killed her.
No.
Sorry, but I...
You say that.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, that's wrong. Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, like, only quite tangentially,
I think
honestly.
there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Huh? How's it any different?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee.
Oh.
This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one. I got it! For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more.
That's right. In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce.
Could you please stop comparing killing people to cooking?
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
Huh. I was like, this seems reasonable that it would be suspended differently, though. But I guess we are going with
Remember
that.
what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more difference.
Huh?
She only kills men.
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Didn't expect you to say that. Didn't like that very much. This is wrong. but is the correct answer.
I got it! Is it because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
Ken Harada, Tetsuhiro, Shoji, Kano, Takashi, Kamastuna, Takefumi, Ochida, Takeshi, Yoto.
They were all guys?
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl! The mopey side of me just hates it!
Didn't like that. Oh, didn't like that. Oh, that one hurt me right there. Oh.
But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
A what?
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of the one and only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there is to it. It's a different matter entirely. When you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly? Cur?
Yeah, fucking get him.
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect.
That's a good point. I hadn't actually thought of that.
That does make some amount of sense.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in the school?
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world scissors!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that?
What? Oh. Never mind. The fact that she didn't use the scissors is quite important then.
She's fully equipped.
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime.
Alright. How the body was suspended did end up being important.
Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by
Yep.
my side?
Nah, I'm 100% certain it wasn't her.
Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. You can't, can you? Gutter dogs, all of you. Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. So rope's totally out of the question anyway.
It's a good point. You would need to know how to do that.
I have no idea what's going on anymore. Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
Yeah.
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
It just doesn't feel like it's Byakuya, but he's the only one who should reasonably know about the way the body was suspended.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat killer or whatever.
There is one person. It's gonna make me pick Byakuya, but I don't... Really, though?
Here's my answer. Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it?
Like, yeah, I don't know how anyone else would know to suspend her, but like... So much of it seems strange. Like, Byakuya went exercising in the middle of the night doesn't strike me as the kind, you know?
You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
He is, like, really pushy about the Genocide Jack angle, though, wasn't he? Why would he do it, though?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
I can't think of anyone else, but it just seems so strange.
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was...
But why... No, there's gotta be another explanation. It just seems too incongruous. Like, Byakuya did it, but like, the way it was done makes it seem so unlikely to have been Byakuya. But nobody else seems like they should have known to suspend the body.
Because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it. The adorable glasses man was behind it all. Oh, I'm on fire!
It doesn't sit right.
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange.
It was? The locker rooms, they're suspicious. He did seem pretty eager to get in, didn't he, I guess? Let's start with the girls' locker room. That is pretty suspicious. It just doesn't feel right, though.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls'
We
locker
didn't
room.
know it was Chihiro before we found the body.
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest
Well,
of
you
the
knew it
class.
was Chihiro before we found Chihiro's body. A new element. A truth flashback. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the left mouse button, you'll memorize that weak spot. This memorized phase can only be shot once as a single truth bullet. If you shoot or change the truth bullet, it will disappear from the chamber, or the cylinder. However, you can use this flashback feature as many times as you want. If you don't seem to have the answer to a lie or contradiction in your loaded truth bullets, it might be wise to memorize a different weak spot and use that to make your case. That's cool. When's the best time to flashback? Well, you'll just have to use your keen wits, won't you? In this case, though, I will say that if you don't use a flashback, you won't be refuting anything. That's cool.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls...
Please be normal for 5 seconds.
You absolutely take it. That's a natural reaction for any guy.
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So, of course, I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless...
What's so strange? You wish you'd taken me with
Yeah, I kind of figured I'd just missed it because I'm bad.
You said Byakuya was acting
I like the
kind of
sound
weird. He was
effects.
acting- If you're presented with the opportunity, that's unnatural.
The victim was Chihiro.
No, that's wrong. I'll tell you what's so strange about that, because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Okay.
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go ahead. Show us.
What's with Byakuya's attitude? It's like he doesn't even care. I've got him cornered, but he's acting like it has nothing to do with him.
What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you? There must be more to it.
There is.
There is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit, you mean?
The difference between this case and the other Genocide Jack murders. What could it be? Probably wants me to show the extension cord.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
No.
There must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my
No. Ah, I'm so stupid. No. Ah, Jesus Christ.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
Fuck.
But Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right. Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd...
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No.
A pretty bold lie, to be honest.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
You've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody message. I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
Not quite. He's doing it again. He's totally calm, totally unconcerned. As if he's not even involved. Not even involved?
What's wrong? I asked you if you think that's what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's the killer.
So... it seems undeniable that Byakuya posed the body. But I don't think he killed her. Them. So... did Byakuya discover the body and then just move it? But why the fuck would he do that? But it seems like it has to have been him that positioned the body, but him murdering Chihiro still seems weird.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
They kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Do you think... No. Do you think Byakuya moved the body because he thinks of this as a game? Like, Do you think Byakuya discovered the body, but the way he discovered it... This is gonna sound so fucking ridiculous. Do you think Byakuya discovered the body, but the body was in such a position that it was obvious who killed her? Them. Fuck. Do you think it was too obvious from how the body was originally positioned? So he moved the body to make it harder to figure out who was responsible? That sounds ridiculous, but Byakuya does think of this as a game. So what if he thought the game was too easy, based on how the body was originally?
Sorry, but could we hold on just a second? I think we need to talk about this a little more.
Huh? Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
I know, but still, there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still bothering you? I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers you?
Well, the murder didn't happen in the girls' room. Something's not right. The scene of the crime.
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? Are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown. She was found dead in the girls' locker room.
Alright, dude, be theatrical enough about it.
How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later.
And Byakuya knew where the fucking ebooks were, didn't he, as well?
Along with the rest of the murder
So he'd know he'd know where to find one of the girl's ebooks.
The rest of the murder scene? That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all of that.
I believe I do.
Hey Byakuya, did I just take you off guard? When the story suddenly moved to the crime scene, Byakuya, who'd been confident up till now, maybe Byakuya never even realized that the actual scene of the crime could have been somewhere else. Ooh, hadn't thought about that. I took that the exact opposite way.
Hey, don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
Switched posters.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Okay, dude.
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
No, it's not that the stain was scrubbed away. It was moved. There we go.
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, Does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
Yes, why indeed?
The murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think? What? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the bloodstained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room with—
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Because it obfuscates the gender of the murderer.
Huh? Why would they go to all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place?
Yeah. I already know.
To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device.
Kyoko knows. Kyoko knows that Chihiro is a boy. When she said to examine the body very thoroughly, she wasn't talking about the extension cord, was she? Because that's what we found. Kyoko would probably examine Chihiro a lot more thoroughly than that.
But Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
This is gonna be one of those things where it makes me pick like the wrong answer, isn't it?
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook. She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure it was gonna accept that one.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess...
No, that's not right. I don't think so. I think the broken handbook belongs to the murderer and they just swiped Leon's handbook.
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate...
Monokuma, is it hackable?
Psst. You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring!
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just... wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Is that it then? Mm-mm.
Hold on a second.
She knows.
I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the... You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say?
She felt the dick.
There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait! Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
Wait, really?
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
Really? So before I even knew what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead. And where she took us was...
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to bottom. What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
Specifically, she wants you to examine the crotch region, I think.
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully.
Examine her carefully?
Not you.
Like, using our hands?
Not you.
No way, no way, no way, no way, no way!
Good.
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
Boy, you're about to be really surprised.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just based on religious grounds, you know?
Very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her.
I'm not sure.
So just leave this to me.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Putting her hands together in a brief prayer, Sakura began to quietly examine her
Be
body.
sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is this...
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
Is a boy.
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting.
What? You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Yeah, probably not.
Then it's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a crush?
Ah!
Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
Not necessarily. Chihiro definitely was presenting feminine.
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial. I do apologize.
I don't really like that we're leaping to cross-dresser.
We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy.
There's other possible explanations than being a cross-dresser. I would know.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl. And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
So we're just gonna start saying he without further investigation, are we?
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
Not necessarily.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
Like,
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I knew this. I knew Chihiro had to have been not biologically a female.
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that
But
does seem plausible.
it makes me a little uncomfortable that we're just going to start using he without really investigating the matter further.
Well,
This is why I was trying to stick to them, but kept saying she by mistake. At the very least, it seems like it should be them, given Chihiro was presenting as female.
I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
He's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still
No.
think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
Yeah, but it was one of those pick the wrong answer
He just
things.
seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder.
Yeah.
At least, that's how
I thought he moved the body as well, but it does seem like... It doesn't seem like he knew it was in the boys' room originally.
And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So who?
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Oh, thank you, His Majesty.
Correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
No, I am not effing with you right now.
What a pussy.
I'm telling you the truth.
Won't even say fuck.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility, because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Wow, you're easy to
Do
convince.
you not have a mind of your own?
Yeah.
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
That's very...
Our lives are all on the
I've been thinking about how it's not not Toko and not Byakuya, but I haven't really been thinking about who it actually is.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
But if Byakuya didn't do it, then who's the real killer? The killer is a guy.
I got it!
Since the crime scene was the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it would have to have been a guy. But that's still not... I mean, I do think it is a guy, but... I'm not certain about the Leon handbook.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Yeah.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer. And it's not like they're just gonna turn themselves in. Game over, man. Game over.
Stop being dramatic.
No! Not game over!
Do they want me to use Celeste's account on information?
Is there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer,
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point.
Yeah. All we need right now is any
Fuck.
kind of new info.
It's over.
I'm not even sold that that's actually what it wants me to do, but I'm still a stupid bitch.
Isn't there a single clue?
Well, did nobody get...
I'm sure if someone saw the...
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some...
Yeah. All we need right now is
Fuck.
any kind of new info.
No, I didn't think so.
Shoot! Isn't there a single clue that
does it
might
want?
lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough
Oh,
for
wait.
now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. You want to know who saw the killer? And only the...
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Alright, I'm stupid. That's okay. I already knew that, but I didn't know I was
believe
stupid in
someone
that
else
specific
did
way.
see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him. Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Oof.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
I'm in kind of a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always did.
Well, yeah, you couldn't actually exercise together.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Yeah, which is why it makes me really uncomfortable that you all just keep saying he now, given he took... I just didn't. Given that Chihiro took steps to hide the fact that they were biologically male, kind of gives me the impression they probably didn't want you saying he.
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much, enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
Oh, what a marvelous friendship! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
We do.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
I do.
Seriously? Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the
We
time to
can?
talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does Chihiro's jacket really hold some clue? Somehow, it's really hard to believe. I'm not sure what we're going for here.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed.
Mm-hmm.
He was on his way to go exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
True.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
What the fuck?
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it?
Did?
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
What is the angle we're taking here?
He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is...
Wait.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
Wait.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it.
How did Mondo know it was a blue tracksuit?
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
Celeste didn't mention the color, did she?
You heard him.
Did she? Can I look at the account more specifically? Stuffing some blue exercise clothes into a duffel bag. Is that the angle we take on this? Is it that Mondo shouldn't have known it was blue?
So next week, why did he choose the specific...
What do you mean, the specific...
I got it! It matched the one that...
So, like the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as...
No, that's wrong.
It's Mondo?
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
It's Mondo?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
I saw him stuffing a track jacket. Yeah, she didn't say
She
blue.
never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
It was Mondo?
What are you... You just...
Hey, Celeste. What color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
It was Mondo? But Mondo had promised to, like, they seemed like they got on well together. Mondo seemed like he liked Chihiro.
Because I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be.
Yeah, where?
The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility.
Cherry.
Are you talking
Yeah, that's a
about
little
Chihiro?
weird.
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either.
Stuffed it into the bag. Yep, stuffed it in a hurry like she was trying to hide it. She was gone.
When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did.
Oh, I see. The classic bait.
Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
How? What did you see that I didn't?
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question.
No. Mondo did start calling Chihiro dude and wouldn't, like, firmly state a gender at any point. Because I hate him.
There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men...
I wasn't thinking too much about it.
You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You notice such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful.
I also noticed this, but I wasn't sure if I was just crazy.
Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Yeah, this is pretty fucked up, Mondo. Why'd you do it?
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
Mondo. Why did you do it?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah, he would never do something like that. This is a false accusation.
Taka, I'm sorry. I know you just became brothers, but... Mondo seems like the right answer.
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come. That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you'd found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, you know, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then... here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
Whose and where's? Who and where? Is it Chihiro's?
We know Chihiro's handbook was
Where did
missing
you
from the scene of
find
the
it?
crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted.
busted.
It won't even turn on.
There's 2 broken handbooks?
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
There's 2?
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
Why are there 2 broken handbooks?
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
Why are there 2 broken handbooks? I think I know. It's the weak point. Obviously. I think I know what the weak point is.
Has one weak point, didn't you?
It's heat.
You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
Something needs to have happened to have damaged 2 handbooks. The only thing I can think of that's happened recently is Mondo and Taka taking the e-handbooks into the sauna all night and frying them.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and 2 of them broke in quick succession, then
we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what?
You're asking me?
Wait, no, maybe not. Taka went in naked, actually, didn't he? Mondo went in fully dressed. Mondo did go in fully dressed, though. Mondo would have had it with him. And he would have noticed that his e-handbook wasn't working. Taka never mentioned his handbook being broken, which seems like something he'd bring up. But Mondo would know it was broken, so then he'd know how to break another one if he had to.
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this
What
to
else
be a
could
fair
it be?
trial.
Nothing else has happened other than Leon getting killed, but Monokuma basically told us that that's not what broke that handbook.
But if I tell you, and someone else...
What else could it be? What else has happened that's involved somebody in a way that could damage it? It can't be going in the water. We've already been told they're waterproof. Nothing else has happened.
Just tell us already. Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is...
Moment of truth.
when it's exposed to high temperatures for too
I'm a
long,
fucking
it will
genius.
melt down and
Oh.
totally break.
Oh, fuck.
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
You knew it? How'd you know?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
Well, that would have made it a lot easier to guess, wouldn't it? Why didn't you tell us that, piggy?
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees.
I'm a
Strange
fucking
how you don't get burnt,
I'm a
huh?
fucking genius.
It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried.
Is that true? Is that how the physics work? I don't know.
That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new
Is that
fact
true?
today.
I don't know anything about, like, physics.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
So it has to have been Mondo or Taka. But Taka went in naked. Taka presumably didn't have his handbook with him.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But Mondo did go in fully dressed.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
Here I was thinking it was just a nice little scene that we could see two people be fucking stupid in, but it was all set up all along.
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness?
Yes, and we
it
just so
broke,
happen to
realized it was
know.
broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa, seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their...
I'm sorry, Taka. You look like you'd know. Really, it could only be one person. Sorry, Taka.
Here's my answer.
Why'd you do it, Mondo?
Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
I was a little... I got to the right place, but I used the wrong reasoning. Because I was like, ooh, 2 broken handbooks. Well, they both went in the sauna. Taka didn't have his with him, but there's still 2 broken ones. I got to the right destination, I just took the wrong path to get there.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
You know. I don't want to believe it either, but... I found something that proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt. We have... That's a lot of things. Wait, what was Awie's account? I've forgotten what she actually said. Oh, kept her distance from the girls. Right.
If what he says is correct, then Mondo,
Probably gonna be that.
you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
How do you want me to point
Let's
to this
test Makoto's
exactly?
assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look!
How do you want me to point this out
Makoto
exactly?
was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
So...
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo,
Like, do you want me to just do the...
you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
What do you want me to show for this exactly? Do you want me to just throw the broken e-handbook at that
Makoto was
assertion?
wrong after all!
Wait,
Mondo
wrong.
wouldn't hurt a fly!
Do you want this wrong part somewhere?
Let's test Makoto's. If what he says, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is, then that proves that what Makoto said is
Well, my goddamn handbook works just
Wrong.
fine.
Fuck.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own. In other words, if then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own handbook.
In other words,
If Mondo's, then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own. In other words, if then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own hand.
in other words, if Mondo's handbook,
Then that proves.
that what
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
Okay. I kind of wanted to just see if I could get away with throwing wrong right into his face, but no.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo... You broke your own handbook.
in other words,
If Mondo's hand, then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own hand.
in other words,
If then that proves.
that what Makoto said
Well, my goddamn handbook works just...
Oh, okay. They just seemed too, like, obvious to just throw broken handbook right on that.
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped
Yeah,
his handbook out for
I
one
figured
that
this as
actually
well.
works.
The one you're holding right now should be Leon's.
I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning?
No, we already talked about this.
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student.
That seems a tenuous way to take that.
It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting.
I wouldn't have gone through the angle of they're not a student anymore. It's just that you took it without it needing to be loaned, exactly.
As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch! What's wrong, bro? Come on! Tell him he's wrong!
Sorry, Taka.
You are wrong! You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it all up!
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
Oh, we're gonna do the comic now? Okay. So, Chihiro got spotted. And then, oh, this one right here. There we go. Chihiro got spotted. Chihiro went into... Do you want me to put the specific door up? No. Just, That? It's interesting that there's some from the previous trial in here still. Oh, this. Oh, hey, Chihiro, it's you. Wow. Puts it in there. Then... like so. Splatter, blood splatter. I still just want to know why Mondo did it. Okay, rolled the carpet up. Took the poster down. Goes there. What goes here? Picks up body, leaves, but what's... oh, girl's room? Door? Goes in... what goes here out of these options? That's the sauna. Because this goes into the room. But... which one is, like... goes into room? It's not doorknob, right? Let's do the other parts. See, person... wait, is it puts poster up then? It has to be, I guess, because this is after they've gone. So this is puts poster up? That just seems like a pretty dramatic cut. This poster's up. Byakuya comes in. Byakuya ties up. Draws blood. This is... goes here. Chuck's on the ground. Right? This all seems correct. Alright, let's go.
Exactly what happened. First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room?
Okay, I wasn't 100% on that one.
Simple, because she was really a he.
Again.
Which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from. It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet. Then, removing the bloody poster. And finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course. But this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch.
Yeah, you would say that.
That could have been the end of things, but no. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation.
Yeah, why?
Even more complicated.
There's two whys I'd like to know the answer to. I didn't lay out my reasoning. Really? It's not ties up? What is it then? Oh. That? Oh, tied up is over here. Getting gone a fucking technicality.
That So,
upset.
After stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter.
For some reason.
And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook. And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Orada?
But why did he do it? Mondo, why did you do it?
Wait. No. This can't be right. Where's your evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence?
You're gonna need to do better than that.
You need evidence. You need proof. Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him.
Okay. Evidence that Mondo is the killer. That already revealed itself earlier in the trial. Just check that one item of his and everything will become clear. A new element has been added again. Let's talk a bit about fever time and nega time. Okay. During a bullet time battle, if you press the space key, fever time will activate and the tempo will be forced to its max. At this point, even if you push the buttons at random, you won't miss. You can push right, RMB, LMB, RMB, LMB, however you want to destroy the opponent's verbal assault. But this only lasts until your focus gauge runs out, so make the best possible use of your time. Of course, it wouldn't be fair if only you got special access to special time, right? So we've also prepared something called nega time that your opponent can use. If the opponent activates nega time during the time battle, your tempo marker will disappear. Don't like that. If you were to activate fever time at this point, no, never mind, I'm sure nothing would happen. Just use fever time to cancel out the other one, huh? Alright. Interesting how it's, not Mondo we're doing this with.
Show me some evidence. I won't listen. I refuse to vote. Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence. I won't listen. You're corrupt. I refuse to vote. I refute you. False. You're corrupt. Show me some evidence.
This is going better than I expected.
Show me some evidence.
Behold the evidence.
If my thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon's. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now. Once we do that, we'll...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I did it. I killed him.
But why? Ugh. 1B. Nice.
Bro, what are you saying?
But why?
I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with. Ask for the goddamn verdict.
Roger that.
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting, no holding on. Time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Grab your lever and give it a yank! Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
What's in the loot box? It's Mondo.
What?
Uh-oh, this time it looks like you got it right again. Yes, it is so. The blackened that killed Chihiro Fujisaki was Mondo Owada.
Unbelievable.
In case you're wondering, the vote was not unanimous. Kiyotaka chose the wrong answer. You're treading very close to the danger zone, Mr. Ishimaru. You need to be more careful. I refuse to believe it. There's no way he could kill someone.
Sorry.
What is this?
Why are you apologizing? Why? Why did you do it?
Now then.
I feel kind of bad for Taka. He's pretty upset. Well, it looks like Mundo's taken a vow of silence, so allow me to explain on his behalf.
Actually,
The story of the murder this time is the sad story of two men. Oh, but for anyone who doesn't really want to hear it, you can hit the control key to fast forward. Anyway, there was once a young boy, and his name was Chihiro Fujisaki. They had an extreme inferiority complex regarding their own lack of strength. You're so weak, even though you're a boy. They'd heard things like that as long as they could remember, and they couldn't overcome their weakness. On the contrary, they tried to hide it and buried themselves further and further into that weakness. To take on the fragile... Alright, hold on. You're telling me that somebody was getting bullied for being a feminine man, so they decided to start dressing as a girl? That's an interesting response to being bullied. They had chosen that as their way out. Now nobody will be able to say anything about even though you're a boy. But no matter how tightly they wrapped themselves up in that shell, the inferiority complex had taken root deep inside of them and was not so easily weeded out. As it turned out, the shell was completely empty. The complex didn't disappear, it only grew stronger and stronger. I'm weak.
Weak.
Once the killing game had begun in the school, they had no choice but to accept this fact. After all, this world is survival of the fittest. If you're not strong, you don't survive. And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets, which of course included Chihiro's embarrassing secret, which I was more than willing to divulge. Which is... And that was something Chihiro couldn't let anyone find out, no matter the cost. If that was revealed, it would be the end. The hardened shell would crack, the armor would fall away. Without a doubt, those around them would torture them more than ever before. Everyone figured being thrust into such a dilemma must have sent them spiraling into despair. And yet...
I'm sorry. But...
Annoyingly, they used the threat of discovery to motivate themselves to become stronger.
That's right.
Now's my
I
chance.
want to change.
and accept who I am. Strong enough so that when someone says, even though you're a boy, I'll be okay, I'll get better. With that thought at the front of their mind, they resolve to take immediate action. And so, that day they made the commitment to begin exercising. They were prepared to retrain their body and mind, but sadly, that would be the first and only chance. When they decided to start exercising, they thought it would be good to ask for someone's help. But they wanted to tell that person their secret first and then ask them to help from there. And the person they went to...
Yeah, that's right.
It was me. It sure was. The biker gang fella had been painfully clear about how important his manly promises were. So Chihiro figured that if they confided in Mondo, he would honor the secret. Plus, Mr. Macho Mondo was the very symbol of a strong man that Chihiro had always aspired to. Wait, what? Okay, Chihiro's gender's a little more complicated, I guess. I'm still gonna say they. Maybe talking to Mondo about it will help give me some courage. So he went and asked Mondo to help him. This says Chihiro, but this is like Monokuma, I think. That was his aspiration. And he thought that only with Mondo's support would he ever become close to that.
Correct.
So that must be why Mondo did what he did, to keep the promise he'd made to Chihiro. What? Huh? Did what he did? That's why Mondo carried Chihiro from the boys' locker room into the girls' locker room?
Indeed.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Wasn't that to cover up what he'd done?
Certainly.
That could have been part of it, but I don't think it was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men he'd made to Chihiro. But how does moving the body keep his secret? Because if everyone knew he'd been killed in the boys' locker room, then everyone would have been arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once that started up, at least a few of us would have immediately begun to suspect their identity, so... He tried to protect Chihiro's secret by putting them in the girls' locker room and stealing their handbook, see? But why'd you kill Chihiro? Then, Mondo did all that to keep the promise he'd made to Chihiro, who he'd also killed? Why would he do that? The more I hear you talk, the more I don't understand. You guys trusted each other, right? Why? Why did you? Because no matter what, I didn't want anyone to know.
I knew it.
So that's what triggered it after all. The possibility of having your embarrassing memories and secrets exposed.
What is this?
That's impossible. Nothing could have been that bad. Something he didn't want anyone to know, even if it meant killing someone?
You're wrong.
It's impossible.
Don't make me repeat myself.
To judge others by your own standards is the height of folly. Oh! Really, Byakuya? Is that so? Even if you can't comprehend it, he obviously can. That's all there is to it. Well, while we're on the subject, why don't I tell you? That embarrassing memory, that secret he didn't want anyone to know.
Hey,
You know what Mondo did? He killed his own brother. Oh. Yeah, you probably wouldn't want anyone to know that. Mondo, the ultimate biker gang leader, makes all the hoodlums and riffraff across the country tremble. But the only reason he had the chance to join a gang in the first place was because of a certain someone. Mondo's older brother's name was Daya Awada. Mondo had nothing but respect for him. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got on a motorcycle. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome, of the starry-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put together a local motorcycle gang. And before anyone knew it, it had grown into the biggest biker gang in the country. Daya, the older brother, number 1 in the gang, and his number 2, his younger brother, Mondo. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy. What? But when Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over the gang from his brother someday, his brother's greatness, his reputation began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul. The kid's gonna take over for Daya, huh? Daya created this gang with his bare hands. Mondo's just along for the ride. Can someone like that really be our leader? All that'll do is make the gang look bad. Almost every day, Mondo heard the gossip and whispers of the other members. Which is why...
I
gotta get stronger. Stronger than Daya. Once, just one time. No matter what, I gotta win.
Don't fuck with me.
I don't care what it takes, I gotta come out on top. And on that night of his amazing brother's retirement ceremony, Mondo challenged him to a street race. But during the race, tragedy struck. The kid brother pushed ahead with reckless abandon and, eager for victory, dashed into oncoming traffic. But suddenly, so you didn't actually kill him. Laying in his kid brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words. My bad, kid. I fucked up. Sorry. Of course he knew it was his brother's fault, but Daya never blamed him for what happened. Hey, kid. The rest is up to you. No matter what, you gotta keep the gang together. 'Cause it's the team you and me put together. It's a promise between men. He decided to hide the truth of what happened from everyone else in the gang. In order to keep the gang together and keep the promise to his brother, he could never admit to anyone that it was his own weakness that caused the accident. And as a result, the team was made even stronger under the banner of the kid who'd bested his big brother. Daya was gonna lose to his kid brother, so he got stupid and got himself killed. That became the explanation for what happened. Mondo's lie became the truth. He wanted to lead the team so bad, he was willing to tell all kinds of lies about his brother. I'm strong. Strong. And yet, as soon as our killing game began, he realized, no matter how tough he pretended to be, he was just another weakling that could die in an instant. And then the hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets. At that point, it was clear I would have no problem shedding light on his secret. Mondo killed his own older brother, which is a bit of a twisting of the events, but... No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. If that happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had worked so hard to create. would have been destroyed. His death, all the guilt I'd been carrying around, it would have all been for nothing. So that's why. Mondo. After what I saw, after I saw what Monokuma had on me, my head filled up with a kind of fuzzy uneasiness and just started swirling around. I'd never felt anything like it before. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't sure what to think or say, but after a while, that fuzzy uneasiness turned itself into a rock-hard lump of anxiety weighed down in my stomach. And it was right around then that Chihiro asked me to start working out with them. And right there, they told me a secret. Seriously? Jesus.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I lied to you. Why? Why now? Why are you telling me all of a sudden?
Huh?
'Cause, I mean, you could have kept that secret all this time, right? If anyone found out, you would.
But
You're right,
I
but
want to change.
I wrapped myself in lies. I'm weak. I want to destroy that version of me forever. Their words were like a knife in my gut. I felt like they were exposing the lie I'd been living myself. I have to change. I don't want to be weak anymore. You're so strong. It can't hurt you, right? Whatever secret Monokuma might tell us.
You piece of...
You're saying I should just say it?
What?
You're saying if I really am, I should just be able to tell everyone my secret?
Huh?
I was jealous. I was jealous of Chihiro's strength. They had the strength to face their own weakness, to try and overcome it. It was the kind of strength I've never had, so I was jealous. And that jealousy broke me.
What? What?
Are you making fun of me? I'm strong. Are you fucking with me right now?
No.
I'm not making fun of you. You really are strong. I felt like I could hear something starting to creak. Something inside my head. What did he want me to do? What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to just sit back, let my secrets get revealed and ruin everything?
What's wrong?
Damn you!
Why'd you have to tell me that? Are you trying to rub my failure in my face?
I just wanted to...
I admire your strength.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I am strong. Strong. I'm strong. Stronger than you.
You son of a bitch!
And stronger than Daya. It's not quite the trans panic defense, but it's pretty close. I don't remember anything after that. When I woke up again, he was lying at my feet, covered in blood. I had the dumbbell in my hand, and I was just staring at them, down on the ground.
I killed him. I killed Chihiro. Even after all this time, I'm still just as weak as I've always been. And thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
So, I mean, I get the impression that if this game was released, like, yesterday, Chihiro's character would have been pretty differently handled. I don't think the intention is for Chihiro to be transgender. Because it seems like Chihiro wanted to work out and then present masculine. I'm going to hedge my bet and stick to they, but that's the vibe I get. That it wasn't really meant to be a trans thing. But there's some pretty undeniable, like, parallels to it. You know, there's I mean, For one thing, I'm not actually a girl, by the way. And then you get murdered for that, which is something that happens quite frequently, particularly to sex workers that are transgender. And then there's also the getting outed, getting your gender outed when in a way that was outside of your control, which is another common fear. Though the reason for Chihiro dressing like that is complete bullshit. Oh, I got bullied for being girly, so I decided to just present as a girl, is complete nonsense. But okay. It doesn't seem like Chihiro was meant to be trans, but my take on it is that I can see how you get to it being trans. I did think that was the case at the start. Don't think it is. But it parallels pretty closely, and I'd wager they would have been overtly transgender if the game was more modern. Although, maybe not. Japan has a big trans medicalist problem, so maybe not. Who knows? Trans medicalist being like, basically, if you haven't had the surgery, you're still whatever you were. Japan's pretty heavy on that side. Anyway, he was normally so aggressive, so angry. He hid that weak side away from everyone. That was his secret. A weakness like that lived in a heart like his, and it turned him cold-blooded. God damn it. Look at him, you see? You're all just like him. For a secret from the past, for a memory. For that, he killed another living human in cold blood. He couldn't cut free of his regrets from the outside world. He doesn't know what true strength is. Do you see hope anywhere in there? 'Cause I sure don't. You bastard. Just shut up, you son of a bitch. Go ahead, say that again. I dare you.
Yep.
Okay, I'll say it as many times as I want. Is what I want to say, but unfortunately I can't do that right now. Because the time for punishing is fast approaching. Punishing?
It can't be.
You mean execution?
Well now.
That's what I promised you, right? The blackened that disturbs the peace will be punished.
Ridiculous.
Hold on.
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
No, wait.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time.
I said wait.
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
What's it gonna be this time? What? That's the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. What the fuck was that? Leon's death was pretty harrowing. That was stupid as fuck. What the fuck was that, Monokuma? That was fucking bullshit. Alright. Okay, sure. Laugh at death and your soul will forever be at peace. It can't be. My brother. Another murder and another execution. I want to feel again. Everyone's lives are taken so lightly here. I feel like I might be going mad, you pussy. Maybe I'll just let it happen. As Taka's sad screams invaded our skulls, we were each forced to realize once again, of course he had to. What a disappointment. This is the end of the game. Byakuya.
What is this?
You're completely insane, you know that. A game? One of our friends is dead, do you realize that?
Naturally.
Of course I do. Because this game is life or death.
Hey.
I don't have anything to say to you. I don't have a response. Except that
However,
I just don't understand why. Why did you go out of your way to disguise Mondo's crime?
What?
Why? Isn't it obvious? Because it made things more interesting. His voice was calm, emotionless, like the voice of death. It chilled me to the bone. Sure. Last night when the murder took place, I was in the library as usual.
Honestly.
So you ignored the right time rule too. Funny that. That rule never mattered to me. I don't recall agreeing to it.
There is nothing to be done.
Well, I don't particularly care. Please continue. The night grew late, and I decided to return to my room, which is when I stumbled upon him. I'd spotted Mondo coming out of the girls' locker room. After he'd gone, I looked inside and saw the corpse. You actually witnessed the murder. He was such a fool. He didn't have the slightest idea that I'd seen him.
Well...
So you're saying you knew who the culprit was from the very beginning?
That's right.
Indeed. But if that had been the end of it, how boring would that have been? I mean, what a waste of time to have the answer revealed right at the beginning. I see. So I was right, basically. Though I thought he did more than he actually did. Which is why I decided to lend a little helping hand. I thought it would liven things up. You did all that to liven things up?
I see.
So after hearing about Genocide Jack from Toko, you decided to use that to create the fake murder scene?
But...
Damn, man. If we hadn't figured out who'd really done it, you would have died too. Well, obviously I would have revealed the truth before it reached that point. But of course. Byakuya turned and looked me in the eye. I could feel his sharp eyes piercing into me. Thanks to a certain remarkable someone, it never did, and I was able to perform an interesting experiment.
Interesting.
Once I do decide to become blackened, I now know who I'll have to watch out for.
Correct.
So that was your reason. Are you satisfied?
Indeed.
Yes, we're done listening to your story. Moving on.
Hey,
There's something I'd like to ask Monokuma.
What's this?
Oh, I'm up next?
you...
You like to perform these elaborate executions each time, right? My question is why? Do you like them? You know, this punishment, this despair, it's not just for you. All this punishment, all this despair is my gift to mankind itself.
What?
You're over-exaggerating. I'm not over-exaggerating. These punishments are meant to transform all hope to despair. What do you mean? 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 Mean. Good grief, I don't understand why you have to pick apart every little stupid thing. Whatever, it doesn't matter. In the end, I'm going to stand alone as the victor, and then everything will be revealed to me. Ah, the noble son of a noble family. Truly, you understand me. I think this is the start of a terrifying friendship.
That's enough.
Shut up. I would never stoop to the level of a childish criminal like you. Okay, bro, I'm sure. Let me just say this. After I have achieved complete victory, you're up next. I'm going to find you and to kill you, understand?
In the name of my family.
For which victory is a foregone conclusion.
You're getting all riled up.
Ooh, so cool. It's like you're the main character of a video game or something. No trash mob for you. I swear, whatever it takes, I will kill you. Temper, temper. Sounds like someone needs a nap. Okay, good talk, team. Monokuma's laughter peeled across the courtroom and the curtain closed on the case of Chihiro and Mondo. But I knew that wasn't the end. The killing game would still continue. Because the mastermind wouldn't let it end. For those of us who were still alive, our worst fear and despair kept on multiplying. It was the kind of despair that felt like a blind puppy in hell had more of a future than us. All of our courage, our effort, our friendship, it felt like it amounted to nothing at all. It was the worst kind of despair.
Well, anyway, like I was saying, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah, a really good spot. Anyway, isn't it amazing how that girl went and killed someone before things even had a chance to get boring?
What?
Once things really get moving, it'll be like a roller coaster. There won't be any stopping it. Fear and despair charge forward at a speed nothing can hope to match. But I must admit, I'm disappointed. I went to all the pain and effort of making you part of the group, and you couldn't play your part. You do remember you were supposed to make the first move, right? Well, no biggie. Nothing we can do about it now, so just do your best to make things more exciting from now on, okay? After all, that's what everyone wants to see.
There's one thing I'd like to ask you.
As long as you don't want to know my measurements, fire away.
Who is it? The 16th high school student, I mean. What?
My, you really took me by surprise there. I know I said you could ask anything, but super denied, ultra denied, demonic denied. Because you see, that's my ace in the hole. And nobody'd be dumb enough to reveal that, right? No matter how close they were to their friends.
What? So, someone's in here, alright, but I thought, like, they'd be the mastermind. I guess not? That was interesting. Okay. Well, we'll worry about that later.